Hey guys, Mike from Shamino's workshop. Here I have a Korbanth Crimson Lord. So this is Darth Maul's lightsaber that you see at the end of the Solo movie. Spoiler alert. I think we're I think we're far enough away from that movie that it wouldn't be a spoiler at this point, but this is the first saber. I guess we can call it perhaps a prototype. The final will be slightly different, mostly on the internals. It'll have some sound venting. The internal dimensions will be a bit different, wider and more consistent. But this first one was sent to me to install, take a look at, provide some feedback, create a chassis for it, and here's the final result. So we have the red buttons are the actual buttons, just plungers. The silver buttons or gribblies are not buttons, they're static. And you have your claws. You have obviously both sides will be able to accept blades or blade plugs, and it does come apart in several spots. So down here, this is removable, and the way that I've installed it, it's a 3-part chassis. So let's take the chassis out. It is on. I should shut that off. And the last part is up in there. You probably can't see it. Maybe you can see it. I can't see it on the camera display, but there's a chassis that's about this long. Yeah, maybe about here. That holds a speaker, 24mm bass speaker, and also extends up into the emitter so that we can put a PCB up here. So I have 2 Shtok PCBs. You can see one of them in there. So just an Eco 7/8 inch blade socket, if I didn't say that already, on both sides, so that it'll accept a 7/8 inch blade. I did have to drill and tap blade retention up here as well as here. And on the prototype there was no sound venting, so I also using a drill press, I drilled 1/16 inch holes on both sides so that sound could vent. But I believe on the final, the design will have sound venting here and here on those black areas, as opposed to here. And what else? The upper portion is also removable. There's a screw here, as well as being able, if you remove the blade retention screw, this silver piece can unscrew from this main piece. So it's actually a couple of pieces here, but the way that this prototype was designed, the wires going up to the Shtok PCB are essentially keeping this joined. If you were to try to take it apart, you'd have wires preventing you from removing this. Now you might be able to slide it out. There is a little bit of wire slack here, so you might be able to slide this out a little bit, but once installed there shouldn't be a need to. Plus the final will hopefully alter the internal dimensions here and maybe allow for something different up there. But for now, consider this prototype that now once it's installed, an end user really wouldn't want to take that apart. Okay, so let's look at the chassis. I went with a 21700 battery just to gain access to more milliamps. So basically the size of the gas tank, or the size of how much fuel you can put in there, along with it being a 20 amp max discharge to support the 2 blades. Also on board are 2 switches, a kill switch, Proffieboard, and the PCB, the NeoPixel switch combination PCB that we're really starting to make use of. I have 2 of them, being that there's 2 blades. On the emitter side, the PCB serves to allow for the blade, of course. So 3. So you know these have 6 rings essentially, right? You have 3 for the blade, so you have positive, LED, negative, and a data. But since the switches are on board, the remainder of the rings are used for the speaker. So I just passed 2 wires using 2 of the 3 leftover rings, and that's for the emitter portion. On the down here, I'm using it, but only for the pixel. Perhaps for the final, when we have sound venting here, we could put a second speaker here, so that would be nice. The other idea we have for the final, once there's more internal space, is potentially 2 Proffieboards. And this actually Randy had suggested from Korbanth, and I like this idea. I wasn't able to accomplish it here, but I think on the final chassis, once we have more room, we'll be able to add 2 Proffieboards. One Proffieboard will control, 1 Proffieboard with 1 button will control this blade, and a second Proffieboard with the other button will control the bottom blade. This way you can ignite them and control them independently. And we'll probably have to do some font customization to support that, so that there's not a lot of duplicity or redundancy on the font sounds. You know, maybe have a double hum, but maybe not all of the sound effects. But we'll explore that once we get there. Okay, well, I've spoken a lot, but essentially either side, you know, as long as you line the switches with the button plungers, it doesn't matter which side. What I generally do, though, is I use this side, the side with the shorter claws and the buttons, as power. And so this button is my power button, which is in line with the kill switch. So I get it started, turn it on. Now I've used the boot up delay configured for 10 seconds to give enough time to get this in.
Formerly dark, now just more.
And this way you can hear it, right? So 10-second delay on the boot up. This way you get the chassis in, get it seated, and you'll hear the boot up. And then you can ignite the blade. I only have 1 7/8" blade. I don't have many, I don't have a need for more than one. So down here I just cut some blade stock just to, just to add. So we're seeing the light from the Shtok PCB, the ECO PCB, and it's illuminating some of the blade stock. I forget, it's a 24, it's a Care Sabers 24 mil base speaker, being vented through these vent holes down here. It's, I don't think I maxed it out. I don't think the volume is set at 3,000. It's probably 2,600. Could bump it up a little bit, but good enough. I also did, it's the SA22 prop file, customized to remove volume control, as well as make it quick on, quick off. So single tap on, single tap off. With that though, now you can't do single auxiliary for blaster, right? Single. Normally you would do single for blaster, but because it's, you know what? Actually, I could probably revisit that for 2-button mode. For 1-button mode, I had to disable blaster on single click because power, single click is shutting it off. But on 2-button mode, I should change that. 2-button mode, Right now I have it where double click or triple click is doing blast, but I can change that since it's 2-button mode. The auxiliary button won't interfere with the power button. Just thought about that, but you know, and it's the full Korbanth bundle, just with the mall fonts up.
At last we will have our revenge.
Right, so first one was Crimson Lord, second one is Menace, I think. And then the third one is... What happened? Huh. Twist. Okay. The third one is...
I claim this sword.
Darksaber.
And my rightful place as leader of Deathwatch.
The other thing I believe we're gonna do on the final version is gonna have to palm slap it out. Chassis retention. Maybe a screw somewhere so that once you get this in and aligned, sorry, I have a phone call in the background that I'm hearing. You know, so maybe some sort of chassis retention. Or the other thing I was thinking about is, you know, some sort of connector where the chassis piece that's in here has grooves that would be able to connect to the lower piece. This way, when you slide it in, it forms, you know, some sort of solid connection. There's not much room though with the PCB being up here, so I don't know. We'll figure something out this way, because I think what's happened is, you know, once you get it in and you get it set, when you put the bottom piece on and you twist it, there's a slight twist going on here. So, you know, we'll deal with that either with some sort of chassis retention screw, or some sort of like interlocking connector up here to prevent it from turning. Shut that off. Yeah, so that's pretty much the video. Just wanted to show that off a little bit. And I do believe the final, I believe it's the end of the month, by the end of January, Korbanth will have the final hilt ready to be sold or installed. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Of course, any comments, you know, any feedback, please feel free to share. Reach out if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, guys.